undrar det.
Killing a person quickly. Unfortunately, it is common for people born with the genetic mutation to die in childhood due to injuries or illnesses gone unnoticed, with burn injuries being the #1 unnoticed injury sustained by those who have the condition. It's pretty common in children with the condition to bite off the tip of their own because they can't feel the pain of biting clear through it.
Du kan sluta och skriva och försöka hota med grabben. Det kommer inte att funka. Som sagt, jag har pratat med polisen idag, gjort en anmälan och lagat hot, grov skadegörelse, grov stöd.
She'd been the victim of several severe accidents in her life and recently agreed to allow doctors
sitter ni och ringer ni varann och ber dem att kolla varann eller? Kolla mig. Jävla idiotiskt. Det är bara det att jag har anmält det här till polisen, det som hände här med dörren. Och min moppe och vilka som har tagit den. Anmält. Bye bye. De personerna som ju var här, de är kända hos polisen, så varsågod. Och du också. Så var jag du så skulle jag inte ens kommentera någonting. Jag kan bara säga så här, jag är ingen jävla sån som du påstår att jag skulle vara. Bara för att du heter Billy Stenberg och du är jävla fuck off. Du är blåst i skallen tror jag. Hatar såna idioter. Så tror sig veta mer om annan än man själv vet någonting om sig själv. Så tyvärr, fuck off. Det är ju fakta. Jag har för min dotter. Jag kan vara glad för.
For the most part, what keeps us average folks from reaching superhuman strength is thanks to two proteins called myostatin and actin A. Our bodies produce these proteins from growing to excessive sizes and repress
extreme.
The proteins simply restrain our
så din foto där för min dörr och banka på den. Jag tar min järnfemma-klubba.
Some people can tap into enormous amounts of strength that would rival that of the mighty Thor any day. Liam Hoekstra was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder called muscle hypertrophy.
Only 5 months of age. Sitter och ljuger för polisen, ljuger för alla.
At 9 months old, he could do.
Jag bara går väck. Jag vill inte ha något med hela att göra ändå så. Han vill inte ha något med knarkare att göra. Och sådana som. Sluta skriva till mig. Jag svarar inte dig heller. Socialen ser exakt vad du skriver. Polisen med. Så jag svarar inte på dina saker.
What this little boy can physically accomplish is truly amazing, and chances are we haven't seen the last of this superhuman little boy. We're pretty sure that recruiting scouts for various sports all over the world already have their eyes on him. Hope you enjoyed the video, folks. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe.
Jag vill inte ha något med er att göra överhuvudtaget, inte någon av er. Har inte ni fattat det? Oh my god, säger jag bara. Lämna folk i fred, ge tillbaka deras saker som ni har snott. Sen kan vi snacka, men inte innan. Jag svarar inte. Jag ser inte vad du skriver så det spelar ingen roll. Vilken är din favorit ställe? Finkan eller hemma? Är det finkan? Ja, vad bra. Jag är inte din polare.
Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin.
Jag är inte eran polare. Ingenting.
May 2014.
Tänk att jag är värsta mardröm.
A mysterious object that has yet to be explained. Numerous residents of the tiny island of Bermuda were witness to a strange light that appeared on the northern horizon one night. It was a dead calm evening during which you could see all the way out past
Tänk på att jag är värsta mardröm istället.
and not a cloud was in the sky. A little after the sun went down, almost directly under the North Star, this strange light kept getting larger and larger without actually moving. The light proceeded to brighten up the entire ocean below it before abruptly dropping almost instantly out of sight. The light seemed to grow in intensity for a minute or two and was seen nationwide. Boats that were in the area also reported seeing an incredible light off in the distance as well when they were already located a little over 15 miles north of the island, which means that it must have been enormous and quite a long way out. No wreckage was ever reported as being found, even though numerous individuals attempted to mount a search that lasted for a few days. The authorities brushed it off as probably being a plane disappearing over the horizon, and we think that it's probably a pretty likely scenario, except for one thing. The only issue would be why the light kept getting brighter if the plane was moving away from all the witnesses. Furthermore, any plane would have disappeared on an even arc and would not have maintained its height for so long before dropping out of sight so quickly. Many have claimed that the waters off Bermuda were alien artifacts. Likewise, it's no secret that navigational and communications equipment failures have been known to occur around the island. With the announcement a little ways back that pyramid structures had been located at the bottom of the ocean within the Bermuda Triangle, we think that it's always possible that the islanders might have seen a UFO landing site. The island also used to be home to a now defunct U.S. Naval Air Station and still maintains one of the longest commercial runways in the world as a backup landing strip for space shuttles. NASA has a listening post on the island that is still potentially operational, so it could be that either the U.S. government or NASA has moved their more secretive testing grounds to
Men som sagt, jag har inte redan kollat eller någonting, ingenting. Jag vill inte ha något med idioter att göra, sorry. Jag vill säga, jag är inte ledsen för det.
And at the end of the day, who's really going to believe that the U.S. is conducting tests in Bermuda? Yeah, we didn't think so either. Number 4. June 2015.
Alltså, är det då
The
att
next
ni är ju
video
trollar?
was straight from NASA and was released shortly after it appeared out of nowhere on their feed. Initially, the space agency cut the cameras and mounted an internal investigation. Many of those who witnessed it have since said that it was a bit of a scary moment. All they knew right off the bat was that 3 massive objects were tearing toward the Earth at an amazing 14,500 miles per hour. That's extinction event kind of stuff right there if the rock's large enough. The object looked like it could be an enormous plane to some onlookers. After streaking into view, it appears to split into 3 distinct pieces and continue to descend. Its trajectory took over several US states and could very easily have looked like missiles or a killer asteroid on first glance. One of the first reports stated that it was moving far too slowly to be a meteor or other such fireball from outer space, but didn't immediately discount the objects being some sort of weapons system. These fears were thankfully unfounded, and we all lived to see another day without nuclear winter. Even though 5 satellites tracked these objects after they were picked up, they weren't noticed ahead of time, and absolutely no warning was given prior to NASA freaking out and pulling the cord on the video feed. If what we know about asteroid and meteor impacts is true, then we could be on a collision course with an insanely large rock and still have only that amount of time to duck and cover. It's not all that comforting, but we do think there's a silver lining in the fact that it would be over for all of us so quick that we barely have time to think about it. Most experts have since concluded that this flare-up was just space debris burning up in the atmosphere. There's a surprising amount of it out there, and it all poses serious threats to the safety of any astronaut that has to navigate the invisible minefield. This is actually a good thing.
Jag tyckte de har fattat. Jag kände inte att de fattar inte det. De fattar inte svenska, eller?
Number 3, November 2015. What lit up the night sky for thousands of spectators along the
Men jag ser en inställning på YouTube så blockar jag alla kommentarer.
Terrifying of a concept than watching a UFO pass overhead. They actually saw the start of a week-long training operation that rendered a long chunk of the airspace around Los Angeles International Airport no-fly zones for the next week. No advance warning was given of the test, and a lot of people, quite reasonably, freaked out a bit. The Navy spokespeople at the time told the public that there was no cause for concern and that they routinely performed these kind of actions. we still can't help but wonder how routine they actually are. Most people joining in the speculation assumed for quite a while that these lights were just a meteor shower and not a military exercise. It's just baffling that the military nonchalantly declared missile tests obviously don't happen all that often in the area, or it wouldn't have been such a big deal. Also, why all the secrecy if you're going to be conducting the operation on civilian doorsteps? Much of what happens in the military seems to be keep us safe and sound, we're not complaining. This particular missile trail was said to glow an intense blue and must have been worth seeing. It trailed miraculously across the sky fairly slowly for the better part of a few minutes, while these terrified people just watched it happen. Jumping back a bit, we also had a good giggle about this missile being a simple meteor shower. That's quite an impressive display of firepower to say the least, and would make for the biggest...
Det är lite onormalt att folk titta på andra sidor när de har snott moppe och hotat den personen. Onormalt.
Speculating whether or not people were watching the remnants of a Chinese rocket in the middle of burning up in our atmosphere. Way to go, Fox News. You've cracked another tough case. Not quite what it was. It is worth noting that it does look rather ominous. It definitely doesn't look
utan straff.
Very wrong on that spaceship.
Och så moppe utan straff.
Was just strafing us with a little UFO chat and having some fun with us feeble earthlings. But we think that's probably Nellis Air Force Base spokespeople were quick to assert that it wasn't one of their rockets being
Lämna tillbaka moppen.
It could not have been an experimental aircraft. They assured the public the event was probably a meteor burning up as it plummeted to Earth, which is a relatively benign, if still visually pleasing event. The Delta Aquarid meteor shower was also expected to peak around that time, so it could have just been a preview of the show to come. We're just glad it wasn't another missile launch, because those things are starting to get out of hand, especially when they're pushed on us out of the blue. We think another possible scenario is that Nellis could be lying to us. Don't get us wrong, we still think that tangled mess isn't some secret government experiment involving little green and gray men being prodded by scientists in white lab coats with blacked out visors. We do, however, think that if they were testing an experimental aircraft or other military device and it happened to act up, that the result would look a lot like what all those videos show. We also think that if their equipment failed and potentially put civilians at risk of falling aircraft engines, just to float a hypothetical, that they wouldn't be so quick to tell us about it. Their track record speaks for itself, so while we're sure that this event was just a wildly entertaining meteor shower, we can't discount that Uncle Sam isn't doing anything shady either. Just food for thought. Number 1, February 2017. The Bay Area had yet another military-based UFO scare in 2017, when countless witnesses posted videos and flooded police hotlines with stories of aliens invading the Earth. After checking in with their sources, news outlets were able to confirm that this was yet another Trident 2 missile test. What makes this one really interesting is that it was launched from an Ohio-class sub.
Och ni har nog inte en chans mot de här poliserna som var här. Shit, vad de är bigga bägge två. 2 meter.
We like to think that with the stir they cause every time they do something like this, they would
2,5-3 meter långa.
That being said, it would be nice for people to catch on to the fact that the UFOs
de vet vilka ni är.
are actually missiles. When it happens repeatedly, it should just be a no-brainer. It seems that the kind of people who flood police hotlines aren't real deep thinkers. Then again, if something does happen to defense, we know those weekend warriors are just waiting to dial those precious from invasion. It's interesting to note that these spokespeople are making sure to state more and more emphatically that these tests are not in relation to any perceived threat or current world issues. We'd feel more at ease if there wasn't any reason to keep bringing that up, but you know how the world is these days. A huge number of onlookers weren't expecting little green men to begin popping up anytime soon. Most thought they were watching an impromptu meteor shower, possible asteroid breakup. We're okay with meteor showers, but would definitely want to get underground if an asteroid was actually breaking up. What do you think the chances are?